Miku and Mafuyu Hinasaki are the protagonists of Fatal Frame 1, with a sixth sense for the paranormal. The game opens with Miku's voice explaining how she can see things other people can't see. Mafuyu is close friends with a man named Junsei Takamine, a famous novelist, who recently disappeared along with two other members from his team, while researching legends for his next book. Junsei Takamine was a famous best-selling novelist who felt he needed to push the envelope in his next book in order to continue his successful career as a writer. His prominence is most likely the reason that he was able to get two others to accompany him on his trip. This would end up being his editor, Koji, and Tomoe, his assistant. Mafuyu brought along a camera that was willed to him by his deceased mother. The camera obscura, as it was called, was supposedly able to capture the supernatural. Mafuyu uses it to banish a ghost that attacks him soon after entering the mansion. His investigation into the disappearances is quickly stopped by the powerful, vengeful spirit of an unknown woman in a white kimono. When Mafuyu doesn't return after several weeks, Miku follows her brother to the mansion, fearing the worst. She first meets the ghost of a little girl, who appears to be asking for help, but also guides Miku throughout the mansion. Miku first learns of Koji, who is the editor for Junsei Takamine. Koji appears to be somewhat of a skeptic and focuses more on the disarray of the mansion rather than the deadly events that were said to have unfolded there. Koji has his photo taken in the mansion, and ropes that were not there appear on his limbs. He also begins to feel unwell and begins to mentally spiral. The group discovers that the entrance they came from is now locked and they are trapped inside of this mansion. The two healthy members of the party, Tomoe and Junsei, split from Koji to look for a way out. Koji, in his weakened state, loses the key they gave him to his part of the mansion. Koji is continuously stalked by a woman in a white kimono, with ropes hanging from her limbs. She is swarmed by the infused body parts of other tormented souls. Koji attempts to hide from her in a closet before she discovers his hiding place and uses her multiple hands to tear him apart, limb from limb. After discovering the remains of Koji, Tomoe begins to be stalked by the same woman in the white kimono. Tomoe was apprehensive about coming to Himuro Mansion. Unlike the others, she had a very strong sixth sense. She wrote in her book the following: "There's no way I want to go to that mansion, but it's my job, right? I guess I'll have to go. And I wouldn't want to waste the chance to work with Mr. Takamine just because of a little uneasiness either." Tomoe later writes about seeing the tortured-looking woman in the white kimono, just as Koji saw before his death. She learns that the woman's name is Kirie. Before long, Tomoe begins to suffer the same symptoms as her ill-fated colleague, Koji. Using her sixth sense, she hears children playing a game. She also sees talking, decapitated heads that were severed by the Himuro Mansion's family master. It's at this point that Tomoe realizes she never should have come to the Himuro Mansion, and instead trusted her gut and her sixth sense. As Tomoe's mental state continues to deteriorate, she has visions of a broken mirror, dead bodies, and a presence coming from deep within the mansion. She also sees the same little girl that Miku encountered upon entering the mansion, who's pleading to her for help. Despite this, Tomoe discovers that the way to break the curse is to reassemble the mirror that broke apart in her vision. By this time, Junsei has left Tomoe to search for another way out of the mansion. Before Tomoe can tell Junsei of her findings on how to end the curse, she is strangled to death by Kirie in the backyard. Junsei shows up in time to see Kirie's ghost standing over the dead body of his assistant, Tomoe. Along with recorded findings from Tomoe, Junsei surmises that Kirie is a rope shrine maiden from the legends that he was coming to research about. Legend has it that Himuro Mansion was built over a gate to hell, which served as a bridge between the living and the spirit world. Every 10 years, one girl would be chosen to be a rope shrine maiden. She would have ropes tied onto every limb and one onto her neck, and they were then connected to horses or cranks. The rope shrine maiden would then be ripped apart, limb from limb, and the blood-soaked ropes would then be used to seal the Hell Gate. The mansion was owned by the powerful Himuro family. For some reason, the last ritual failed, causing the Himuro family master to go mad and massacre everyone in the village before ultimately killing himself. Another family who took over the property also went missing, and now the mansion has fallen into a complete state of ruin. Locals continue to avoid and fear the property, as well as the entire subject altogether. Junsei believes that by reassembling the mirror that smashed as a result of earthquakes that followed this failed ritual, he can break Kirie's deadly curse. Now afflicted by the curse himself, Junsei races against time to find the pieces of the mirror. Before he can retrieve any of the pieces, however, Kirie crucifies him on the ceiling inside of Narukami's shrine. His ghost, however, is able to guide Miku to a piece of the mirror before she is also attacked by Kirie for the first time in Narukami's shrine. Miku awakens to find herself now afflicted by the same rope curse that killed the trio. The spirit of a young boy is now holding the piece of the mirror in front of her and playfully disappears with it into the mansion. Children in the mansion appear to be playing a game of tag. It is soon learned that the name of this game is called Demon Tag and represents another gruesome ritual carried out at Himuro Mansion. Demon Tag is used to choose the next rope shrine maiden and who will be it in the next game of Demon Tag. The it player is responsible for finding all other players, and they are also referred to as the demon. The demon is a woman who has her eyes gouged out of her head by a blinding mask, which has spikes going into the eyes. The blinded maiden must then find all other players hiding in the mansion, which will help decide the next rope shrine maiden and the next blind maiden. The other players are children, typically just under 8 years old. The first child to be caught will be the next blinded maiden in the Demon Tag ritual. This girl is thought to have the lowest paranormal senses and is considered blind to the demon spirits behind the Hellgate. This blindness, along with destroying her literal eyesight, is believed to stun the spirits long enough for the strangling ritual with the rope shrine maiden to be performed outside of the Hellgate in what is known as the Hell Mouth. The last child to be caught is considered the most powerful and divine for being able to evade the demon for the longest time. She will be the next rope shrine maiden and is promptly taken away from her family to be cut off from the outside world for the next 10 years as she prepares for the upcoming ritual. After encountering the ghost of a blinded maiden, Miku also encounters the ghosts of children who were killed while playing Demon Tag for fun on the property. They were all seemingly dragged away by the ghost of a man with long arms. Among the vanished children was Makoto Munakata, daughter of Ryozo and Yae Munakata. The family had attempted to move into Himuro Mansion after the massacre, but disappeared soon after. Ryozo Munakata was a folklorist who wrote about the rituals of Himuro Mansion. Yae Munakata bore a striking resemblance to the mother of Miku and Mafuyu Hinasaki, who'd committed suicide, leaving the two siblings to take care of each other. After her daughter Makoto disappeared while playing tag with her friends, Yae became grief-stricken and eventually hanged herself as well. Ryozo blamed Yae's death on the mansion and her obsession with the camera obscura, which was in her possession at the time of her death. Ryozo unlocks access to the Hellgate with the blinding mask used on the blinded maiden, but is quickly pulled into the cave by Kirie and killed. Unbeknownst to her parents, their daughter Makoto Munakata was actually still alive. She had been led away from the mansion and spared suffering a similar fate to her friends. After learning of the deaths of her parents, Makoto is taken and raised by a friend of Ryozo Munakata's, with the last name of Hinasaki. She had also taken the camera from the mansion. This would make Makoto the grandmother of Miku and Mafuyu Hinasaki. After retrieving a piece of the mirror from the child who stole it from her, Miku enters the Hellgate and discovers the dead body of Ryozo. He died while clutching another piece of the mirror in his hands. Miku is once again caught by Kirie. Miku awakens with more rope marks on her body than ever before and realizes that her next encounter with Kirie will be her last. Miku catches a glimpse of her brother Mafuyu in the underground cave known as the Band Path. However, rubble, likely from earthquakes, has caused the cave to partially collapse, preventing her from following him any further. An alternate route could be accessed via the Moon Shrine, which enshrined the mummified remains of many past Rope Shrine maidens. It could only be unlocked by using symbols from 4 priests who participated in the strangling ritual, as well as a seal from the Himuro family master. After banishing the spirits of the priests, Miku discovers more about the importance of cutting the Rope Shrine Maiden off from the outside world. This was done to prevent the Rope Shrine Maiden from developing earthly ties that would prevent her from wanting to do her duty and sealing off the Hell Gate. Kyrie, during her lifetime, had spotted a boy who was visiting Himuro Mansion. Although the two had only short communications through the window of Kyrie's locked residence at first, they soon began meeting up. After Lord Himuro discovered this, he had the boy killed out of fear that he could taint Kyrie and the ceremony. Despite the priest telling Kyrie that the boy had just simply gone home, she discovered the truth before her strangling ritual. Kyrie realized that she had fallen in love with this boy, felt immense guilt over his death, and no longer wanted to die. The ritual was tainted, and the ropes from Kyrie were unable to hold the Hell Gate closed, resulting in malice and vengeful spirits crossing over into the world of the living. Kyrie's spirit became corrupted by this malice and transformed into the monster that was now killing unlucky visitors to the mansion. Although she is still missing a piece of the mirror, Miku discovers Mafuyu at the Hell Gate, along with Kyrie. He's absorbed by her right before Miku can reach him, and the two engage in a final battle. Miku's camera shatters under the power of Kyrie. Believing her life to be over, Miku is helped one final time by the little girl in the white kimono. She points to the shattered remains of the camera obscura, where the final piece of the mirror has been inside of all along. Miku repairs the mirror and frees Mafuyu and purifies the malice as well as Kyrie's spirit. It is then revealed that Mafuyu had only been spared by Kyrie due to his strong resemblance to her lost lover. Kyrie's spirit had also been divided into 2, one being the hostile ghost affected by the malice, and the other being the little girl in the white kimono who represented the part of Kyrie that remained unaffected and pure and was begging for help. The little girl in the white kimono had been Kyrie's spirit that was calling out for help and guiding Miku throughout the mansion. She also reminds Kyrie's now purified spirit of her eternal duty to seal off the Hell Gate. Ravaged by earthquakes from the seemingly uncontrolled might of the Hell Gate, Kyrie painfully struggles to keep the gate closed. She urges Miku and Mafuyu to leave the mansion immediately. Mafuyu makes a decision to stay with Kyrie to help ease her suffering so she will no longer feel alone. In the normal ending of the game, Miku flees the mansion just as the cavern collapses and sees the spirits crossing over to the afterlife. In the alternate ending, Miku and Mafuyu flee the mansion together. The game closes with Miku saying that she can no longer see things other people can't see. This proves not to stay that way for long, however, as Miku returns in the 3rd installment of Fatal Frame. It is also revealed that Mafuyu is in fact dead, meaning that the ending in which he stays with Kyrie as the mansion collapses is the real ending. For more Fatal Frame lore, visit my channel or click a new video on the screen now.